Information to help you run your business better and improve your marketing campaigns. My name is Hank Hoffmeier, and thank you for joining me on Hank's Marketing and Business Tips. Welcome to episode 227 of the Hmbt podcast. I have a guest with me today, but it's not anyone that's on Zoom. We're not on Skype. We're actually in person. And you might say, well, Hank, you're not practicing social distancing. Well, I am, because my guest today is my daughter, Riley, and she has hijacked my show in the past. I'll link to that episode in the show notes. But I thought it would be a good idea to talk about working from home, but from a child's perspective, meaning there's a lot of people talking about the struggles and the challenges of working from home, being on Zoom calls, having a place to work. And one thing I saw was a business that actually is adapting. It's a furniture store, and what they are doing now is advertising office furniture or home office furniture using just general tabletops and then fancy chairs to set up a home office in your house anywhere you want, your hallway, your bedroom, or if you have a home office. But it was a cute play on trying to sell furniture so that you can be more productive in your home. Thought that was a good way of adapting. And then there was this pizza company in the Midwest somewhere that started selling pizza kits where you bought the dough, you bought the sauce, and a whole bunch of other things to go ahead and toppings and stuff like that, to go ahead and build your own pizza. So it's like a takeaway and build your own pizza. And it made it fun and allowed you to do things with family. And Riley and I were just talking about one of the items I want to talk about is doing things together as a family. So Riley, thank you for being on the show today. And I just want to talk about, from your perspective, challenges you're having, number one, because, I definitely want to hear from you about what kind of challenges you're having as being a student now that's schooling from home. And then also let's talk about the challenges that you think that parents have or people that work from home have from your perspective. Let's start by talking about what challenges you're having with being at home all the time.
Well, it's nice to be here, especially because I'm not hijacking this time, and I'm actually invited. School has changed quite a lot for me as I'm not going to school anymore physically. Some of my classes meet on a regular basis. Other classes, I haven't seen my teachers in quite a few weeks.
Do you have a lot of online learning where you're using video to see one another?
Some of my classes. Others I haven't, like I said, I haven't seen my music teacher for quite a few weeks, but I see my science teacher once a week.
Okay. And do you think it would be better if you were able to see your teachers and other students on, say, a Zoom call or something?
I learn better with hand gestures and pictures. As I'm not with my teachers physically, I am not able to learn as well as I would be if I was in a classroom.
I think with business, it's the same thing. When you're having a business meeting with someone, you're actually able to see them and see their facial expressions, hand gestures, and other things. It makes the meeting go a lot more smoothly, and at times you can get your point across. But sometimes people do not have an environment where they want to or maybe can turn on their camera, and we can understand those situations. But if you can, turn on your camera because it means a lot. And especially with Zoom, I don't know, Riley, if you knew this, but they allow you to have virtual backgrounds where you can actually change the background out. Sometimes it depends on your things. You're now in Paris, in San Francisco. I'm on the moon. You can do whatever you want. What are some things that you feel that parents that now need to work from home when they normally go to an office struggle with? What is your position on that, or what are your thoughts?
I feel like you like to talk to people, and that's physically, and see everything that they're showing you body language wise and facial expression wise, where you can't see that all the time. Even if you do have a Zoom meeting, 90% of the time you can't see their whole body. You can't see if they're slacking their shoulders or they're nervous or they're clamming up because they're on a screen, and you can Photoshop easily.
I am on calls a lot, and even when I'm working in the office, I'm on a lot of video calls. That's nothing new to me. I think now it's just the frequency of meetings I'm having, and a lot of times, like now, you and I are both using hand gestures. So I think you get that from me, even though we're not on camera right now. We're using gestures, but to one another. But I would still do that if I was alone. I think it's important to set up an area that you can use video and make sure that you are getting that social interaction with people outside of your family, because I think we're starting to drive each other nuts. The Hoffmeiers are going a little nuts. We were talking earlier before we were recording. You said that you feel like we're actually spending less time together as a family than we have in the past. Can you talk about that a little bit?
You've been in the office most of the day. Mama's been out in the garden or in the kitchen, while me and Andrew are up in our rooms playing video games or reading or schoolwork. I feel like if you are at school and you get home, then you spend time with your family while you're doing homework in the living room. But now that we've seen so much of each other, we decide to clam ourselves up in our rooms so that way we don't have to see each other, so we don't start fighting.
Do you think that we spend, quote unquote, the same amount of time together? Because normally I'd be driving to and from work. I still work late and I wouldn't get home till like 6, 7, 8 o'clock some nights. But I'm actually stopping sometimes a little bit earlier here when I'm home because I don't have that commute time and I'm able to finish up what I need to do a little bit earlier. But are you saying that we possibly avoid each other because we're around each other more, but we're not really engaging on that quality level, but we just feel like that we're together, so why cause a fight or be stressed out or something like that?
I think since we're together, we seem like we're together, like we see each other, but we're not talking to each other as much. And we might be watching a movie, but we're not talking to each other. We don't eat dinner every night together now, and we don't go out to eat with each other as much because we're in quarantine. And I think that breaks a lot of communication. What were you doing today at work? You don't have that question anymore because we know that you're sitting here in the office and you had this many meetings and you had this time to eat lunch and you didn't eat it with us though, so we weren't talking. We can't ask you, oh, how were your meetings before lunch? Same with me. I know that I was in my room along with everyone else, so my mom can't ask me, oh, how was school today? She can ask me, oh, how did you feel about today? How were your meets? But sometimes I don't have that, and sometimes we don't have that together. We don't have that time where we can ask questions that are engaging.
It's kind of sad when a meal together is in a car from a fast food restaurant like we did over the weekend because we went for a hike, right? We can't go to a nice restaurant and sit down and be served. We have, however, spent our money at some local restaurants, mom and pop shops, and brought some food home. We do that regularly to try to support those folks. And we still leave a tip or give a tip when we're leaving, which is awesome. But I like the point that you're saying that I don't like that you're saying it, but I think it's important to note that even though you're around each other, try to make efforts to make touches throughout the day a little bit more quality, because maybe I come in from work and I see you and I say, hey Riley, how was your day? How was school? How was dance class? Or now maybe I'm not saying that because I don't feel like I know what you did with school or even if you had class that day, and I feel like I don't have to ask that. So parents out there, and myself included, we need to make sure that we're checking in with our spouses, friends, loved ones, and our children to stay on that routine of before the pandemic and ask, how are things? How was this? How well did you do this? Thank you for cooking dinner. Thank you for cleaning that up. Thank you for doing your chores. Hey, I love that you read. We need that positive affirmation and check in because it's important to keep those relationships sharp. And I'm sorry that we're not doing that. And as parents, we need to step up our game.
You do.
Now, Riley, this is a good question for you. What can children do that are a little bit older, not toddlers, but what can children do to make sure that they're supporting their family, their parents when they need to work from home, when they're not normally used to that, or maybe they're working more, or maybe they're under pressure because they feel like they're going to lose their job? What do you think children should and can do to support their parents?
If you have a list of stuff that your parents have given you to do, I would make sure to do that, and maybe even do some stuff that they haven't asked you, because that would make them proud of you, and that would make them see that you're not just doing it because you have to, you're doing it because you want to. You could also support them mentally because they might be going through a hard time, because your work schedule and your workloads might be different than they were before. You can also hug them and give them just a positive affirmation saying, I really appreciate you still working for us, even though we are still at home now and we are doing a lot more work actually than we think we are.
So what you're saying is children shouldn't complain and talk back in regards to doing their chores, which at times we have trouble with you guys, asking you guys to do something. But sometimes we have a hard time getting you guys to get on the ball and do those things like little chores like emptying the dishwasher, throwing out the garbage or something like that. We always get in a minute or in 10 minutes, but that turns into 15 minutes, half an hour. We do welcome hugs, and Riley and Andrew are really good at giving hugs. Hopefully you are getting a lot of hugs from your kids, and hopefully they're making your day better. But we're all in this together, and kids and parents, we all need to get along. We're sharing the same household, especially if you don't have a large property to send your kids outside to play. It's even tougher because the kids will be inside all day long. And I thought I'd have Riley on today just to talk about some of those things. Is there anything else that you think parents struggle with when they're working from home more than they have in the past?
I think maybe sometimes if you can, you should switch up your spouse's schedule. Like you could take cooking, which you usually do sometimes, and mama could take editing a video if she wants, or doing something that you would usually do. So that way it's not like the same thing every single day. It would give you something different, so that way you're looking forward to something if you enjoy it, rather than just saying, oh, I have to cook today, oh, I have to fold the laundry today, oh, I have to do this, oh, I have to do that. You can say, oh, I'm looking forward to doing daddy's job for just a day because we wanted to switch things up a little bit.
So you're saying you like burnt food and horror movies?
Exactly.
Another thing to do is make sure you're taking frequent breaks. Even your children from schoolwork, they need to take breaks. I noticed Riley's studying all day, doing classwork all day, and she's even doing it during the evening. She's putting in extra time. Make sure to schedule breaks in your day. For me, I used to get up and take the long way around the office to go get water, take a bio break or whatever, where now my kitchen is only, a few feet, like 20 feet away. I can walk really quick and get what I need and not get a lot of exercise, not stand up. I actually just ordered some legs for a stand-up desk to put my desktop on. This way I can stand up in my office and do some work, and maybe that'll help me do some more video as well. But make sure you're taking those breaks. Make sure that you're communicating with your family and supporting them, and maybe switch roles. I don't know if maybe we can try that one day, but I think we'd end up throwing the food out and just having a salad. And for maybe Amy, my wife, will do a lot better with the video, but we'll see about that. You guys can be the judge. And that is all for this week on this episode. You can catch previous episodes at hankhoffmeier.com/Alexa. I'm on the iTunes Store, the Google Play Store, Spotify, anywhere you get your podcast from. Take a look, subscribe, drop me a review if you can. It helps out so people can find my podcast. And I try to keep my YouTube channel filled with videos that will help you with marketing and business. And until then, happy marketing.